Get down to the bottom. Are you on the bottom?
I'm on. I'm on the bottom.
Rip it. Look at
I'm
that fish. There's so many of them down there. Whew.
Oh,
They're down there. Big group of them. Not a very big one, but a nice one.
another little one, yeah. Jeez.
They are
Color
just
so good out of this
even the
deep
small
water.
ones are healthy. The future 10-pounder right there.
Yeah, yeah, really.
We got
Get
some.
down. I got one.
Got him. Fish on, fish on. I was going to say,
Finally.
take your
Damn
time.
things.
That might be
Oh,
one
yeah.
of them. You got
He's
your,
fighting.
uh-oh.
He's fighting.
We're going to have a double hook up here in a second.
Get down there.
If you need me to switch places with you, let me know, but I'm getting down there. Whoa.
This one's a little
Go ahead and
bigger.
take,
Oh, look at the graph.
where am I at? I'm trying to get out of your way.
Go ahead. I'll just stay back here.
I know, I want
This
to,
one's taking
we're going to get a
mine.
double hook up. That's going to be a
one's
big one right
this
there,
one's
buddy.
a lot bigger.
That's going to be a big one. These fish are turned on right now. I don't know if I'm over your line. I'm over your line, aren't I?
Are you? I don't know where you're at.
Sorry.
It's all right. This one's pulling. I just, oh shit. You see that? Like the line, I was like, oh no. Wouldn't that have been the shits if it just, with the hook cut it?
Oh, look at that one.
That's a lot bigger. Nice.
Nice fish.
Come here, little guy.
Barely hooked.
Yeah, he's just, oh God, look at that. He's just barely hooked.
They're still down there.
Oh man.
That's where that light rod.
Oh, look at it. Got him on the end.
Oh, good.
Look at that. All right. Let's throw that. That's a nice one.
That's more like it, huh?
Look at that. Yeah. Oh man, that's good. Isn't
Look
it?
at the graph.
Yeah, the graph is still going.
Oh,
good.
had him.
Oh,
Look at
shoot.
this.
We better get back down there.
Look at the graph right here. Look at the school of fish. I just had one.
Oh my God.
See that?
We're in them now.
Big school of fish right there.
Look at it. Yeah, look at the graph.
Big school of fish.
Oh,
I just
my-
got bit again. This is what we've been waiting for.
Yeah, yeah. This is what we.
Oh, that was a good, what, 3.5, 4?
Yeah, that was. He was heavy. They're fat. They're
Oh,
broad on their
man.
shoulders and fat.
Look at that.
Oh my
Good
God.
group of fish. Again. Oh, got him.
Get him?
Uh-oh. Oh, it came off.
Oh no. Oh, he came back and get it?
I thought I had slack in it for a second. Oh, that felt like a good one too. Oh, that felt like a really good one.
Boy, they're here, aren't they? Where are we at on this top mountain? Oh, there we are. Right straight from that suburb rock. Oh my God. Oh,
I had him. I couldn't budge that one. That one felt like a real good one.
was on. Oh my God.
I can put a mark.
Oh, the graph was just lit up, wasn't it? Oh my gosh.
Still down there.
Yeah, they're still.
Right on the
We
bottom.
get
right
another
there.
one. We can get them going. You know.
I had him on.
Come on, baby.
Had him on.
They're in the area. That was a nice one.
Yeah, I catch the tiny one. You catch the big one.
And that's something, you know, sometimes they all school, you think they school the same size? Well, there's a good example, huh?
Yeah, I guess
The
that's.
little ones swimming with the big ones.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Oh, man.
Ugh. Yeah, I
You
got
have
him.
to just kind of circle around, Matt. Just
I
kinda
think
stay
you're.
here.
I think you're right. I think.
Just stay in the area and circle around just slowly, or let the wind drift us.
I think what you were saying though, with what we were doing, is pretty effective. Just cruising along with the toy motor till you see a fish.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, just hunting them down. We're just like looking for deer, you know.
Yeah.
We're just cruising around, and when we see something, hey, slam on the brakes, man. We're gonna
Yeah.
catch these.
Gary kind of smacked me.
Yeah, I hit him on the back like this. Matt, stop! You know, we're going full blast. You know, stop a minute. Put the brakes on. He did. I tell you, he put them on, and boy, that graph was the best one we had. wasn't it?
Oh man, and they're active too. That's what's cool. Is
Yeah,
they're
those were
good fish. Some good quality fish.
Oh.
Let's catch some more.
Yeah,
I'd like to catch some more.
I know.
They're still swimming down there. That's the good part. All right, well, we're sitting in about 44 foot of water, 45, anywhere from 45 to 50. Seems like where we're finding the majority of these, you know, schools of fish. And basically what I like to do is I'm just dropping my spoon down and I'm trying to get my spoon in front of them. So if I'm seeing fish on the graph suspended, I'll reel my spoon up to them, and I'll see if I can get that fish to react on it. So I'll reel it up to them, hop it around them a little bit, I'll lift it up, see if the fish will follow it up. And if I can get that fish to react on it, more often than not, you can catch them. So basically, just if I don't see fish on the graph, I let it fall all the way down to the bottom. And the way I like to fish these spoons, and it's just like if you think about a jerkbait, when you're ripping a jerkbait, you want to have that snap and have slack line after that snap. Same thing with a spoon. I'm going to give it a hop and then slack line as it falls. And when the fish are real active, you'll see that line. You'll see that line on the fall. The line will jump, and that's when you get the bite, is when they hit it on the fall. So basically, right now, Saguaro Canyon, 45 to 55, even as deep as 60, 65 foot, we're catching some of these fish, and they're out here deep, just chasing shad. And I think as it gets colder, it's just going to get better. You know, so these fish are living deep, for sure.
The bait's not that deep either. The bait's like 10, 15 feet, but the fish are down deep.
Yeah.
And you can see that they're suspended down there too.
Right.
In 30, 35 feet, those are all fish right there.
Yep.
But when we find the bait, it'll all be right on the very, very top.
Yeah, the baits seem to be anywhere from that 15 to 25 foot, where the shad seem to be schooled up, and it seems like once the fish start chasing the shad around and get the shad spread out, man, it's just like a dinner bell. The fish just go nuts.
It's
all fun.
Just crisscrossing I hope you got a picture of the graph when that.
Oh, that was incredible! And look at them here. Starting to get active.
Okay, down
and that's why I say.
All right.
And basically, that's what we're looking at. Is these fish around here are starting to swim around. Instead of that fish is just sitting there, we're getting some fish, along with our spoons that start to get a little active. And that's what you kind of want to look for, is those streaks. Those streaks, are fish that are active and chasing and moving. And that's one thing when you know you're going to get a bite, when they start doing that. Or at least you know you should get a bite, one of the two.
I'm going to reel up and we were using white, but now we switched over to this color right here. So it's got a black top with a silver bottom. And the last one I hooked was hooked right on the very, very front hook. That front one. And you hooked one, your nice one too.
Same on the front
for
hook.
some reason.
Yeah.
But that looks kind of like a minnow, black top, silver sides, got the fin on the back, so when you pull it, the thing is going. Oh,
double
my
hook
God,
up time.
look
Double
at
hook
that.
up.
Come on.
Double
come
hook
on.
up.
Come on. Oh my God. Look at this. Oh geez.
Golly, they're pulling. Look at them digging. Oh.
Oh my God. Unbelievable.
Make sure you're on the bottom. Make sure you're on the
I'm
bottom. You're going to catch that. They're streaking down. If you don't catch one, Gary, I'm telling you.
Oh my God. Come on.
we got a bunch of fish on the graph there.
Oh geez.
That's a nice one.
You got a good one?
Yeah, pretty good.
Oh, another big one?
Another nice, healthy one?
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Got them on the treble hook. Yeah.
Don't forget.
Wait, they're just healthy. No, it's not as big as look bigger underwater.
Well, that's a good one. Three.
They'll surprise you on how much they weigh. But again, just beautiful fish. Beautiful fish.
God, that's nice.
We'll let him go. We can do better.
Okay.
They're starting to bite.
Look at that. Down. I know. Get it.
All right. When I see streaks, I'm ripping. Ripping. That is, I don't know. Those are stacked down there. Just stacked. I can stop. Oh, I can't stop it. I switched it.
Oh, I got it.
See those streaks? Those fish were diving down. Diving down. There's my spoon coming down, but these fish were active. And that's what you want to see, is those fish streaking and moving like that. Yeah. You can see we had some shad up higher earlier, but they're still down there. Man, that's the way to do it, isn't it?
Oh, I know.
What we're doing is we're just Gary showed me something here, is we're just getting on the trolling motor till we see a few fish and put the brakes on, slow down, and start fishing for them. It's paying off.
Yeah, it is. hunting them down, you know.
Now, like I said, a lot of times oh, look at those fish. A lot of times you get areas where they're, they're key areas. Look at those fish going.
Here we come.
Oh,
We're coming into them.
see, that was
This is what it looks like coming into them right now. Look at this.
that was my spoon going above them, and now I'm dropping down through them, and oh, because I've always talked about using the spinning reels,
Yeah.
and with these spoons, the way they fall, they just fall kind of like a rock. They just fall
Right.
straight down. Whereas the hammered spoons and the strata spoons, they flutter down, and that's why I like to have that spool open on the spinning reel so that it flutters on the way down.
Right.
This one just falls just straight. The action is actually
So
on
you
the
can
lift.
use the bait caster.
Yeah, so
noticed you
I
a
have it
bait
on
caster.
I have it on a bait caster, but the hammered spoons or the strata spoons, if you put it on a bait caster, it just falls straight and it doesn't give it that natural action that I really like, as it falls down, because you get a lot of bites on the fall,
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Oh, something
Here we go.
followed it down.
Yeah, look at now. I see his
Ooh,
line going down.
yeah.
Now there's the line going down. His spoon, and look, there's a fish there.
Fish that followed it down right there. It came out of nowhere, see? And these fish will, in this clear water, they'll swim 20, 30 feet away to eat eat shad, and that's
See it
they're
falling
keying
down,
in on
yeah.
the shad. Obviously, we've caught them and they're spitting up shad, and
Right.
they're they're keying in on that shad. So we should be able to get a couple
Something
more out of
about
this.
area right here in this little bowl like we're in.
Yeah.
So,
God, we need to get a double of 5-pounders. That's what we need. I'm telling you.
that'd
I've
be
done
awesome.
it. I've done it.
Yeah, that would be totally awesome. I go to the bottom.
Hmm.
So I drop it to the bottom, get slack line, and then I'm lifting it up. Just it's a really easy process of doing, Matt's got a little bit more defined, but he sees them up halfway up on the screen, and he'll reel up like this, and he'll get right where they are, and he watches them on the graph, and then he jigs that spoon. Then he watches the fish come up to his spoon. He goes, he's coming there. Eat it, eat it, eat it. So, and then if he don't, and he sees one on the bottom, he just opens it up and lets it go back down.
Yeah, it's
So-
it's like a cat and mouse game.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you're and that's the importance of having good electronics this time of year. I mean, this fall, you can catch them in 5 foot of water and 65 foot of water.
Right.
But in the wintertime, that's one thing that really helps me is just really believing what you see on your graph, learning how to read your graph, and believing what you see.
Right.
And that's why I say when you can see your line, like we're watching both our lines, down there, and when you can see your line, other lines are going to be fish. And that's one thing I was going to tell you. A lot of people ask me, it's like, I'm just not seeing arches. I'm not seeing the arches like the box has the picture of, on the graph. And, oh, there's some fish down there too.
They are.
But when you're at idle speed or you're moving, you're going to see arches because of the way the transducer and the cone comes down. You're actually going to see arches. But if you're stopped in one place and that fish is underneath you, if the boat's here and the fish is underneath here, that transducer is just sending a signal down, and basically it's just bouncing off that fish's head. So all you're going to see is a line. So that's what I look for, is those lines, and I look for those lines to move up and down or be active, and that's when I drop my bait down, your drop shot or your spoon or whatever, vertically fishing. And that's one of the biggest tips is, you're not going to see arches if you're not moving. You're just going to see lines, and that's what I look for, is those lines to react on the bait you're throwing. So that's one tip that's I think a lot of people have trouble with is they're looking for those arches, and like I said, you're not going to see them.
Now I can tell you the difference between Matt's rod and mine. Matt's got his rods custom made. This is a medium with a fast tip, and you really need a medium heavy.
No,
I can
actually,
tell.
yours is medium light. Mine's medium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, mine's medium power, fast
Okay.
action. I
So
think
mine's
yours is medium
'cause
light. It should say
I
on
got
there.
a real soft tip.
Yeah. And you know what?
Medium light, yeah.
And it's good once you catch a fish, because all that bend and those treble hooks and these small hooks we're using,
Right.
that's good for that, because it keeps them hooked. If you use too heavy of a rod, it's going to have a tendency to pull those hooks out, especially when you
does?
have them skin hooked. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what's good about it. But yeah, I think with a medium action rod, you can still get plenty of snap to the spoon, to give it the good action.
I don't feel bad because I missed 2 or 3 or 4 of them, but you have too.
Yeah,
with
no,
your
I
rod.
have too.
So
I have
mean,
they're just not. They just didn't
They're
seem
just
to be eating it really
not
good.
biting real good. They're just They're the typical Florida, and I don't know if we talked about this on film, but the Florida bass that are in this chain of Salt River lakes, when you have a front come through or something, boy, they get picky on eating things. They just don't want to bite good. They're not like our northern bass that are in all the lakes, you know, most of the lakes, but these Saguaro, Canyon, Apache, and now
Roosevelt too.
450,000 Floridas in there, and they're like 13, 14 inches long, so they're going to be the same way.
Yeah,
They get big fast.
Boy, if those Florida strains take off in Roosevelt, that's going to be
with that
awesome.
shad?
Oh, it's going to be awesome.
Those gizzard shad? Oh.
Hopefully they gobble them all up
Oh,
and get
boy.
huge.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It takes
So-
about, what, 4 years, 5 years for them, 3, 4, 5 years before they start getting really big.
You know, it was we helped stock Apache. You know, we put those. You know, it seemed like when we put those fingerlings in Apache, it's just a couple years later they were 2.5 solid 2.5 pound
Yeah,
fish.
they grew
so
fast, didn't they?
they do,
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
real fast.
These lakes here are so fertile because of the shad and crawdads and stuff like that in these lakes. But
Good population of shad, that's for
you
sure.
know, Roosevelt should be the same way, Matt, because we got the Salt River flowing in.
There he is.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
There he is. Okay,
He's-
swim around a little bit.
He's shaking weird, yeah. Oh, look at that. There you go.
There you go. Okay.
I can't tell if he's a little tiny one or he almost feels like
you
a
know,
yellow
that's
bass.
what we're doing, folks, is once we
Oh,
hook one,
there he is.
once we're hooked one, and he's not real big.
Not
but
real big, but it's a
send him back
fish.
down there and get him.
Yeah. Ooh, sorry. Woo, missed it. Golly. This one's pulling. This one's pulling like a better fish,
Is he?
but you never know.
God, come on.
No, he's not a better fish. He's another decent fish, but
3?
no, I don't think so. Well, maybe. It's a good fish.
Oh, that's got a big mouth.
Barely on the lip there.
Shit.
They're down there though.
That-
Quality fish. I'll take it.
is. That's a nice one. They're so pretty.
Yeah,
color-
they're so
the
healthy
color is
down there.
so-
You can see you can always tell by their teeth too. That's one thing.
Really?
Yeah, I was at a tournament. The teeth are going to be real sharp, razor sharp. And I was at a tournament, and I didn't want to tell the guys I caught them on spoons.
Yeah.
And the guy said, "Oh, you caught them all on spoons. I can tell." I was like, "No, we threw some drop shot and other stuff." And he goes, "No, we can tell because the
Why?
teeth are razor sharp. The shad eaters are razor sharp teeth. Those fish that are out digging in the rocks and eating crawdads, the teeth are not going to be sharp like that. That's
Oh
why I
my
say
God.
if you get on a good spoon bite, your thumbs will be all shredded up at the end of the day because they have the laser sharp
Oh, really?
laser sharp teeth
How
from the
neat is
shad.
that? That's something good to learn.
Yeah.
That's a good tip.
I was like, "Oh," he's like, "Oh, you spooned them all." I'm like, "How'd you know?"
He knew who you were.
That was Daniel Elias that actually did that.
was
Yeah.
it? Mark
He was
Kane.
weighing in the fish and he just looked at them and you can get a pretty good idea of what you caught them on. There's more down there. Boy, they fired up. You went right through them.
I know it. I didn't even get a bite out of it. It's like unbelievable. How many? We're only getting one fish out of each school. Like
which
this,
is weird. We should be getting these double hookups. I don't know why.
Who's to your right, Matt? And let's just make
Yep.
a circle. Well, definitely exciting, guys. You know, being out here. Rained a little bit on us, but the weather's good. It's warm, isn't it, Matt?
Beautiful,
It's nice out
beautiful
here.
day.
It's just fun learning about the graph fishing and spoonering and stuff like that. It's a far cry from, you know, what I normally do, throwing jigs and brush hogs and drop shot and stuff like that. We catch a lot of fish that way, but this is just something different that you can do, you know, that you can come up here, especially for you guys over here in East Mesa, coming out here and, you know, it's only not that much of a drive to come out here. I know so many, how many people we talk to at our seminars that come up here and they just don't catch any fish at all. I mean, they don't venture out and do something off the wall like this, you know. They'll just drop shot the shoreline or, you know, throw crankbaits and stuff like that. But
And
it
I'll-
definitely is worth it.
And I'll tell you, typically Canyon, you know, even growing up before the fish kill we had, you know, I think what was it, 2006 when we had the fish kill?
Right.
Growing up fishing Canyon, it was still a challenging lake back then. I mean, I liked going to Saguaro better because it was just easier to catch fish at Saguaro Lake. But you know, with all the deep canyons and the walls we have on Canyon, you got to really be good at you know, fishing that steep stuff and letting the bait fall if you're on the banks and that kind of thing. Just doesn't have as many flats and
Right.
easy stuff like Saguaro does.
So could we go to Saguaro Lake and do this same thing?
Oh, yeah,
Basically,
yeah.
hunt these fish down and,
Absolutely, and they're
do the same thing with the same spoons and stuff.
and that's
that'd be fun.
exactly it. And
Yeah.
you know, I know that I talked to Scooter recently, and he said
Right.
they're catching them 60, 65 foot even deeper.
Really? Oh my gosh.
So so they can be anywhere. I mean, I've got on great spoon bites, and you know, basically I concentrate on that 25 to 60 foot. That seems to be the depth where, you know, the fish just live, you know, in the wintertime this time of year in Arizona. And all those fish we're catching, you know, they're full of air, they're living deep.
Right.
Doesn't mean they won't come up to the surface, or, you know, you can catch a fish out of 10 foot of water. And that's the one thing that I never really could understand is at Roosevelt, you know, I'd catch a fish in 10 foot of water, get them in the live well, and it floats belly up like a cork. And I could never figure that out, and I never really thought about it. It's like, well, these fish live in that 40 to 60 foot of water. They'll move up and feed and then go back out to where they're comfortable. And that's where these fish are living. I mean, they're and just like you say, if they're shad in 20 foot of water and they're living in 50, it doesn't take them, what, 2 seconds to swim that distance. You know, they're like rockets.
So that's why these things are going down so easy once
Yeah.
you're releasing them. Because normally, like you said, we have to needle these fish. If we hold them up and, oh yeah, this is a nice fish, you know, and stuff like that, and take pictures of them, normally they bloat, and then when you put them in the water, they float. So you gotta get that needle out
And that's the one thing. If you're gonna put it in your, you know, put the fish in your live well and let it sit in your live well, you definitely want to learn how to needle the fish and do it right. And, you know, reel the fish up slow when you're catching them out of this deep of water, because, you know, there's some fish down there, huh?
There's some coming in now.
You know, there was some times, you know, I know people were catching them deep, and people find 6-7 pounders floating dead, you know, that couldn't swim back down.
Right.
So that's where that needle, you know, learning how to do that and getting confidence in that is really good, especially if you're tournament fishing.
Right.
If you're tournament fishing, you know how important that is.
Oh yeah. Well,
They're around.
we're finding certain areas that are holding some fish on the graph and that, and then we'll have to travel a little bit, and it won't be nothing, and then we come back and we find a few more, but we're definitely having to move around and find the shad. We find the shad, we find the fish. So if you're moving in a lake, and like Matt, we were just talking about, Saguaro will be the same way, you know. Just keep looking around. Bartlett is the same way. I can go fishing, and there's no fish on the graph, or there's no shad, you know, might be in the middle of the lake, and I just keep moving around, going from point to point, or some of my areas I like to fish, and eventually I find them.
Yeah.
You know, and there they are. And then, you know, I'm not spooning them, but I'm throwing Carolina rigs or chigger craws or brush hogs or something, and we're catching fish that way.
That's one thing that I've gotten a lot better at is really covering water and really, you know, looking for fish. And one thing that I've noticed is, you know, if you do have an area where you're, you know, running down the bank and you find, you know, you catch a fish, keep an eye on that fish and look for followers. A lot of times that's a really good clue of how many fish are really in that area. And I found that out at Roosevelt, one of the FLW tournaments. In practice, I had an area where I, you know, had a 2-pounder, and there was 3 or 4 others chasing it. And I didn't even fish it the first day. The second day I went back to that spot and had the biggest weight of the tournament. And that just shows you, when you see wolf packs of fish and you see the numbers of fish, you know, pay attention to that. You know, there's you know, there's clues everywhere. You know, you just gotta
keep
pay
thinking
attention.
about it. Yeah,
Oh, there he is. Like I said, oh, did he come
paying
on?
attention, huh?
Oh, there he is. There he is.
Look, here they come.
Oh, there they come.
Here they come.
I would drop it straight down in there.
I'm down in it right now.
Golly.
Look at this.
Look at that.
I know. Oh my gosh.
Look at those fish. Reel up to it, rip it, let it reel up a little bit, then let it flutter down all the way. Those fish should eat that spoon. I'm telling you, they're following it down, it looks like. Let it go all the way to the bottom.
Jeez.
that should be double hookup city. And that's what's so fun about catching them on spoons. You know, I took a couple people out, so there's a total of 3 of us fishing. You know, you go a half an hour, 45 minutes, or sometimes more without catching a fish. But then once you get around them like that and your graph looks like that, then there you go.
Oh boy, look at that.
They're decent fish.
Yeah, they're nice fish.
Caught them on the trebles, but
Did
yeah,
you?
you can see that. See how just bloated they are. And I tried not to reel them up so fast, but
Yeah, we've
you
been
know.
reeling them up slow.
But I could needle one real quick.
Yeah,
Just to,
you got a needle with you?
if you release them right away, it's it usually is, you know, they'll swim back down. But basically, just make sure the needle's clear. And one thing you can do is you can put a little water
right
in the needle. So get a little water in there so you can kind of see. And basically what you want to do is those crushers right there, those are the crushers. Go right in between them and just go real nice and slow, okay? So basically what I'm going to do is needle them. And the water helps you know that you hit the air. And you just want to let it equalize. And then once you release them, just like this, you have no problem swimming down. So be real gentle. And when you go between those crushers, like I say, if you put a little water in there or you do it underwater, you can see the bubbles and it gives you, you know, to make sure you're doing it right. Don't be aggressive. Don't jab it in there. Just be real slow, real slow. As soon as you get that air, just hold it, let it equalize, and then throw it back. So that's what you want to do if you're going to keep them in a live well for the tournament fishermen, that kind of thing. And I'm just using the Ben's Mender needle. Gives you a good needle to you know, hold on to and that kind of thing. And it also has that rod in there that'll clear the needle out. So that's it for catching deep fish.
Yeah, good tip. You know, well, we're going to wrap this up today at Canyon Lake. I think we've caught about 9 fish, and we're just fishing the flat out here right now, just trying to catch one more. But it's getting pretty late, Matt, you know, and the front's coming in more and more. It's getting colder and colder. We both put our sweatshirts on, you know, it's getting pretty cold, and every once in a while it starts drizzling. But just want to thank you, Matt, for coming out and fishing with us today. That was good.
It was fun. We didn't get the giants, but got a couple nice ones.
Yeah, someday we'll come back in the spring when it's good, you know, or something, or when it's sunny out.
Yeah,
yeah. When the Florida bass are biting, because like I said, they're very, very picky about eating and stuff. You know, whether it's Saguaro Canyon or Apache.
Yeah, the lakes can just shut off in a day, you know, just like that.
And it did, but it was nice coming out here on a Friday and, you know, taking the day off and coming out. And we did catch some nice 3-pounders, 2.5, 3-pounders, so that was good. So, so I think we had a good day. Got to show the people the video and see what's going on at Canyon Lake and spooning and stuff like that. So with that, we just want to thank you for watching the videos, and we appreciate what you do. And come join Matt and I every second Tuesday of the month, every month, on the second Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. down at the Bass Pro Shop. We had an outstanding crowd, over 100 people there for our Christmas, December one, and gave away, oh my God, how many hundreds of dollars did we give away of prizes? So, you know, it was a good night. Once again, thanks for watching Fishing with Gary.